you who have a Mac, who have Apple products that have one of those charging bricks that I was mentioning. And let me stop share here for a second and show you what I'm talking about. Um, for a for an iPad, this is the brick, and this is just a smaller version of what they now have. Well, what they have for the laptop. The laptop brick is just bigger, whether it's an older model or a newer model. The newest ones are quite a bit smaller. They've been getting smaller over the years, but they always have this little thing that pulls off right here, right? And on the laptops, actually, they send you, at least they used to send you. Maybe I don't know if I got one on my last one or not. A little heavier duty cord that slides in here, and it's an extension, so it's a longer cord than the normal laptop charging cord. Well, this little thingy that comes off of here, it's got the little prongs that fold up. You can get this same kind of thing, and you can get. I'll show you in the photo here. You can buy now a kit, which is really good, from Apple for $29.99 that has all the adapters for different countries, and we'll be talking about those different country adapters. So just so you all know what I'm talking about, this slides off. This is for an iPad Mini. I think iPad Air looks this. The larger iPad regular size looks just like this. Anyway, it functions in the same way. This is the World Travel Adapter Kit, $29. It's got the adapters for the continent and the UK and for Australia. Who knows when we're going to go to Australia again, right? Not that any of us were necessarily going there anytime soon. Anyhow, just to give you an idea of the kind of thing you can get. And that is similar to what I'm going to talk now about. This is all relating to charging your devices while you're out of the US. So if you go anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, Canada, Mexico, Latin America, the outlets are just like ours. Okay, so 2 prongs, you're good. Travel. But once you start heading abroad, you're going to find something different. I have been to Africa, and I'm not sure what Africa uses. I haven't been to Australia. I do know what they use, but that's a less likely of a destination. But a more common destination for Americans, we're going to go to Europe. And if you want to go to Europe, unfortunately, or fortunately, there's no unfortunate when it comes to talking about going to Europe. But when you're going to Europe, one thing you have to reckon is that England, Scotland, Ireland, they don't have the same kind of power outlets in their walls as they do in the continent. They have 2 totally different styles. And let me show you what they look like. Again, I'll stop sharing here for 1 second so you can see what they look like. And I'm seeing also we got Joan Daniels in the lounge has got an issue or question about devices, and I'll come and answer that for you. So when you are on the continent, or if you're in England, you have different types of things. So hold them up here like this. So this is what they have in the continent. This is it's 2 round prongs, very kind of same kind of concept as US. I think the voltage is the same. And then also notice that right around the prongs, it's round. And that's because our outlets are flush with the wall, and the device plugs in out of that. In Europe, they go into the wall slightly. So that's what this round thing is. And that actually holds anything you're plugging in more securely. I kind of like that, actually. It's an improvement, in my opinion, over what we have. However, if this, by the way, is an adapter for the continent. So you can see it's got plugs in the hair, and this one even has an extra set of plugs. You can actually plug 2 things in if you wanted to. So you could take whatever you're plugging in from the US, and you could just plug it into here like this. The only problem is once you've done that, you're starting to stack quite a few things. If you're in England, it looks like this. And they have a higher voltage. I think it's 240, might be 220. Anyway, it's very high. And it has 3 prongs, and they're heavier duty. Also in England, when you plug something in or out, they have a little switch on there. You have to turn it off because there's so much voltage. You turn the outlet off before you plug or unplug something. Anyway, that's what you have in the continent. in England and Ireland, same thing. So you have to have these kind of adapters along with if you're going in both places, no big problem. But then again, remember you're plugging this in and you've got your whatever you've got from the US sticking out of that. I've come across this thing and you'll get the link to buy one of these if you're interested. It's called the Lenscent. I read about this about 6 months ago, and it has 4 USB ports. So this won't work if you need to plug in your hair dryer, which I don't recommend you take along. If you need the one that badly, find a place that has one. But hey, my wife always asks, is there a hair dryer there? I understand if you're a woman. I don't have that issue. I'm never caring about the hair dryers. Doesn't even cross my mind, but for her, it does. She's still got a nice head of hair. Anyway, 4 USB ports. And what's cool about it is, here's how it works in the US. And if some of you have been in my mobile phone class, I may have demonstrated this, but I'll demonstrate more here. So, and then so you plug it right in the wall, and I keep it in the wall behind me here. I actually can plug multiple devices in at one time right here in my office. But what's cool is those little prongs can pop up like that. They fold up. And then there's multiple devices. This is just like the Apple device, the same kind of concept. So here's the prongs for the continent, and you just slide them right down over that like that. And now I've got this thing that plugs into the wall in Italy, and it's got 4 USB ports. What's nice about multiple USB ports is in a lot of older buildings, and by the way, this is true in like Latin America, maybe even in Canada, but in our buildings here in America, especially if it's newer, and I live in a house that was built in 1988, there's probably 5 outlets in this small bedroom. You might find in a bedroom in Europe, they've only got 1 outlet or maybe 2. They've retrofitted their older buildings with electricity, and it's nice to stay in those old, charming buildings, isn't it? But you may not have as many power outlets. And so you might have only 1 option to plug in. So you're glad then to have 4 USB ports. What's nice about the Lenscent, it gives out a maximum of 20 volts or 20 amps or 20 amp hours. And what's cool about it is that this will charge a iPad. So you don't have to bring along the separate little brick like I showed you earlier for the iPad. You don't need that one. You don't need to bring this thing along. And you can plug your phones or cameras. And if you're traveling with a partner, your partner can or spouse or whoever, friend, sibling, can plug in also their device. So for my wife and me, it's handy because we can both plug our devices in one room, and we really like it. Also, I'll be honest, when you're traveling, it is nice to concentrate where you spread out your stuff. I mean, if there's probably the thing I have lost or left behind the most in travel is charging cables. I mean, I used to burn through them in my job, even though I was always sure I was checking. I would discover at the last minute my phone was low on charge, and then suddenly, oh my gosh, we got to get out of here. And you grab the phone and you leave behind the charging cable anyway. I can take this thing off and I can snap on the same adapter for the UK in it. So I can travel to England to use one like that. Just slide it right on there. This now works for the UK. So if I can travel abroad, I have one device that fits all. It is possible to buy dedicated devices for traveling abroad. This is one I bought actually in Italy. Same kind of plug. It's got 3 USB ports in it. But what's nice about this is, let's say you're traveling, like I'm hoping to travel to Italy in April, and I'm in the airport in the US and I'm going to charge both our devices before you get in the plane. Well, this works in the US and then it works in Italy. So Lenscent, I'll send you information about this, but there are all these other things you can get. You can buy these kind of adapters that work in the UK. If you're planning on bringing along a device that's going to have to plug regular 2-prong into the wall, you do need one of these. I would recommend you get one that has at least 2 outlets in it. It's a little bit better. You can plug 2 things in. If you're taking along a shaver, a toothbrush, a hair dryer, you will need something like this to use. And also you can buy the dedicated outlets for walls when you're traveling. If you're in Italy or England, you can go into a store and you can buy the thing that is dedicated for, with dedicated USB